definitely. Alright. Oh, I heard something there, definitely. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Goldguy YouTube channel, and welcome back to the 1977 Suzuki TS185 restoration. If you guys didn't see the last episode in this series, I reassembled this whole bike, and I think it came out pretty good. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. I'll put the link up here or in the description. This video is going to be a little bit exciting. I'm a little bit nervous, honestly, because I spent like at least a month, maybe two, rebuilding this engine from the bottom up. Everything was taken apart. New seals, new bearings, new piston, new rings, all that kind of stuff. And in this video, I'm going to be starting this thing up, or trying to at least, for the first time after rebuilding it completely. And if you guys have ever done an engine rebuild, you know that this can be nerve-wracking as hell. So the things we need to do before I can get this bike started: I need to fill up the crankcase with oil. I need to reconnect the throttle cables. I need to put some two-stroke oil in the oil tank. I also need to rewire the wires coming out of the engine. I need to reconnect those to the coil and the CDI. And then I'm going to probably say a prayer, and then we can try to start this thing up. So let's get right into it. First thing first, I'm going to remove the gas tank so that I can route the throttle cable and get everything rewired. Here is the throttle cable. I think the best way to route this is to go, I'm going to try routing it right through there. And that gets me right where I need to be, right here. Go. We have a little bit of adjustment there, and then this other cable goes down to the oil pump down there. There we go. And there's the oil pump. Cable through the hole there. I couldn't find the other bolt that I made, so I made a new one. This is just an old spoke nut, and I just cut down the middle of it, and I'm going to slide the cable in like that. Alright, let's try that. Oh, it's one of those good luck kind of days. So I was trying to get the throttle cable all hooked up. I was going to test it, and the end just broke right off of the cable. Now this is the old cable that came on the bike originally when it was sitting outside forever, and it did have some cracks, and I tried to fix some of it, but time did not treat this cable well. So unfortunately, I will not be starting this bike up today. But for now, I can wire up the CDI and the coils, and we can see if this thing's putting out some spark. If you guys remember from the engine rebuild, I had to cut the connector off of the end of the wires, and I added a few wires because I'm using a different stator than the one that was in the bike originally. It came with the bike as extra parts. The other one was missing one of the pickups, so it was basically just a dirt bike stator. There were no extra wires for headlights or a battery. So I've got the connector still. I'm just gonna have to solder it back on, and then I'm gonna have to figure out what each of these wires do, and that'll be a whole different episode of wiring and getting a battery in this thing somewhere and all that kind of crazy stuff. But for now, all we need is an ignition system. First, I gotta strip the ends off, and the same on the connector. Next, I'm gonna cut up some shrink wrap tubing, slide it over the wires. because we won't be able to do that after we solder. I've learned that lesson the hard way a few times now. I learned a lot of lessons the hard way. Does that mean I'm stubborn? Probably. And then using some good old-fashioned soldering paste flux stuff, just coat the wires in that. I can just match the colors together. So this one we got black with a red stripe. There we go. Black with a red stripe. Push them together. Twist them up a little bit. Then I'm gonna use this little butane torch guy here. A little messy, but it's on there. They're soldered together nice and good. Then let's slide the heat shrink over and shrink it. Nice, there we go. And then we've got all these other connectors. The stator, the ones I just soldered, hooks up to the CDI here. And then this other connector coming from the CDI goes to the coil, which only has 2 terminals. This has 3. The one here that is clipped is for the kill switch, which I have on a different circuit. It goes to this wire here, so that'll get soldered on later. Hook those up, and now we should be able to test for spark. Oh yeah, that was easy. We got really good spark. A couple packages came in the mail. I kind of need this stuff to start the bike, so let's open it up. This knife's not actually that sharp. It's a throwing knife. Maybe not the best choice of knife to open this. I just murdered this envelope, dude. So here's the new throttle cable. It's a Motion Pro, and to be honest, I'm not even sure it's gonna fit, but let's find out. Okay. Here we go. It actually came with both grips, and you know, they're not in that bad of shape. Might be able to use them. And there's the throttle twist grip. This actually came with a cable too, but the plastic end is broken, so it wouldn't really work that great. Got the new throttle cable hooked up. Works great. Super springy. Now it's time to cut a fuel line for the TS185. I've got this inline fuel filter and some fuel line. Let's go ahead and get this stuff hooked up. There we go. We are all hooked up. Seems kind of weird how the choke is there, but it's good enough for now. Let's get it clamped up. Now I just got to get a little bit of 2-stroke oil in the 2-stroke oil tank. Don't want to fill it up too much at first because it might leak or something. So the next thing to do is to fill the sump or the transmission, whatever you want to call it, with oil. For that I'm going to be using a synthetic 10W40 motorcycle oil. And the oil capacity is about 1.2 quarts. This is 1 quart, so I'm going to use this one plus a little bit. Hopefully we have no leaks. Okay, that's about exactly 1.2 quarts. Now the only thing left to do is to get some gas in the gas tank. I'm going to be using premix. At first, I'm just going to get a little bit in there to test this thing out, because I know this bike has a separate oil tank, but I'm not sure that it's working yet. So just to be safe, I want a little bit of oil in the gas as well. Oh, I'm getting nervous. Let's open up the petcock and see if the fuel flows. Or maybe reserve. There it is. Fuel is starting to flow. Let's wait till it fills up. Make sure the float bowl in the carburetor closes, and then we'll be ready to start this thing up. Go ahead and flip the choke on. There we go. Oh boy, I'm getting real nervous. Gas is starting to shoot out with the overflow. Well, let's just give it a shot, see what happens. Okay guys, it's time. I'm nervous as hell. The choke's on, the fuel's, well, I had to turn it off because it started leaking, but the float bowl should be filled up. Let's kick this thing over. Gonna prime it first. Alright. Oh, I heard something there, definitely. Oh, it just started up. It sounded pretty quiet too. I got this homemade muffler on. I'm going to test it out. Once I get this thing idling smooth, I'll test it without the muffler. But let's try this again. Just turned off the choke. Let's try that. So it doesn't want to idle just yet, but honestly that's fine with me. Not the worst problem I've had. I think maybe I should take this thing outside because it is smoking. Well, that's probably just because I'm dumping oil into the cylinder, but it's better than no oil. That's what I always say. It doesn't sound too bad. There's a little bit of a weird noise coming from somewhere down here, but I haven't tightened all the bolts down yet, so it could just be a little bit of rattling. Such a relief. She's a smoker, bud. Let's see if my homemade muffler actually quietens it. I know it does, but let's see how much it does. A lot. Woo! Run and film this. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I was really nervous to make this video because this engine rebuild took me a long time. This was the first time I've ever fully rebuilt an engine, and it seems like I must have not sucked at something, as gas is leaking out of the carburetor. Well, still a little bit of adjustments to be made. Looks like the float is not closing all the way. Whatever, this thing idles. I got it, it wasn't idling at first, and then I got it idling pretty nicely. It revs up pretty good. I'm ready to ride this thing. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next one. I'm going to be slapping a chain on this thing, hooking the brakes up. I guess I got to get the seat back on, and then the first test ride will be underway. And after that, I'm going to get the headlights, the taillights, the turn signals on, get this thing street legal, and then we'll be doing some moto vlogs on this thing. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, comment down below, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next videos coming soon. A lot of cool stuff coming soon. Stay tuned guys, peace out.